Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Talk to State Farm agent Greg Shamus today.
Says at-home taste test and get your 3 free meals. Text MUNCH to 246810. That's MUNCH to 246810. MUNCH to 246810.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch.
Fall at a football game, and it started me thinking about my own time on the floor.
Caffeine is an addictive chemical.
For Enchantment Sports, about my own time, and I keep thinking about it because I write an article just about every other week for Enchantment Sports. But I'm trying to put it together, beginning, and this is what we'll talk about too, in officiating. They always say that beginning of the play, the middle of the play, and the end. So I'm trying to think of a beginning, a middle, and an end because there's so many things that I want to write about as far as my experiences as an official, as a basketball official. And I think no one knows officiating more than you, and we talk NMAA, Dana Pappas can use you. So Dana, let's talk a little bit about numbers. I talked to you about the basketball numbers, and James Yotis wrote a great article a couple weeks ago. Talk about that a little bit, where numbers-wise, where you are as far as officiating numbers.
So we're pretty abysmal right now. I mean, to be honest with you, some sports worse than others. So right now we're entering the baseball and softball season, and for baseball and softball, we are a little bit scared as far as how we're going to cover games. So baseball and softball are always short, but this year it looks to be worse than it has been in the past. Basketball, we are getting through the season, but I think that part of the issue this year has been we've had injuries, we have a whole bunch of games all on the same night of the week.
This has been something that, depends.
Cover them at this point. So, those of you who are out watching games, you'll notice sometimes the same crew is working C team, JV,
Right.
and varsity, which is
They have a very, very extensive recycling program. Still accept lots of different.
is something that we don't want to do, but we have to get games covered. So it's been a struggle this season. Our assigners have done a tremendous job getting the games covered, which kudos to them. We have 6 assigners across the state for basketball, and the fact that they're able to get games covered is an act of, I don't know, it's a miracle. I don't know how they get it done, but they do. Unfortunately, everybody does have an expectation that every high school
Congressman.
middle school game is going to be called by an NBA crew, and that's just not possible. So we're doing the best that we can with what we have. We have very dedicated, there's 642 basketball officials this season in the state of New Mexico, but they have to cover a whole bunch of games. I know in the
Plan to help
the signer the other day, he has this season 3,800 games to cover, and certainly not enough officials to get it done. So I think that the expectation of perfection is a little bit unrealistic. We run into that a lot, where people figure, you know, they're doing a job, so they should do it 100%, and we would love that, but there's never been a perfect game officiated. There never will be a perfect game officiated, and I think that when people understand that what our officials are doing is providing a community service.
And they're home, about a third, or maybe.
I don't know, but it's definitely something that's been a struggle. We're always looking. We have 10 sports, and we need officials in all 10 sports.
I think one of the things that they say about officiating, start perfect and get better. That's one of the things I read the other day, and there's a lot of reasons. Again, we can't encourage you enough. I think that's how I got started. So I played and I coached at Highland, right? And so because of work schedules, I couldn't coach anymore. Then I thought about it, and I was like, and this is in 1989, and I thought, why not? It's funny because I would pretend to officiate practices at Highland. We'd always blow the weep, at Whittier when we were playing. And so, but one thing that I had to learn, I wasn't a coach and player anymore, okay? So anybody that thinks, well, I've coached or I've played a sport, it should be easy. It's much different when you put on the stripes or the hat or the umpire gear or whatever you do in football or softball or track. It's way different. So I had to learn that and get rid of my basketball ego as far as, well, I know this, right? Because there was so much. You hold a whistle on a call, look off ball. God, it took me years to train my eyes to look off the ball, to look off the ball to get a call, right? The mentors that I had when I was officiating, Ken Murphy, Wilson Holland, Paul Lawson, Les Williams. There was a lot of them. A lot of them that really, Les Williams could stay on a call and still does, I'm sure, for 2 hours. Honest to God, people don't.
He absolutely does.
So when you saw him at a game, you're like, oh gosh, man. I love Les, okay, because I learned. Now I'm going to give you a little story about Les. So, when I used to officiate with him, he'd have this college pregame prep, right? And at first, I'm like spinning. I'm like, wow, I'm like, man, that's a lot of info. And for some guys, it was honestly analysis. It was analysis paralysis. But I just started going out there. I'm going to call my game. I'm going to listen to what he said. But you know what? I know ball too. I do. I know as far, I've been out there. But I listened to what he said as far as, certain little things that made me better. And one of the things that he always said, and people said, you can only be Ed Nunez, take little parts of Les Williams, Paul Lawson. Paul Lawson was one of the best we ever had. Now, before those knees went south on him, the guy had speed. He could run the floor. He could manage the game. Oh, my goodness. And the mechanics, the whole thing. I mean, I really admired him, of course, as a person as well, because he's good people. Mike Kleppel. I'll give you an example. So Mike Kleppel, when I'm officiating, this is when I'm first coming up. I was at the academy, and I remember I called a foul. This kid's going out of bounds. It wasn't that much contact. So he says to me, he says, look, probably let that go, man. Just let that go. All they're going to do is get the ball back anyway. Small hints, but it took my game to another. It did. It made me think, no, you can call them that. It's not going to punish them. It's got the ball out of bounds. They're going the other way, right?
It's the game awareness and game management is such a part of officiating that a lot of people don't understand. And like you said, if you played or you coached, it's definitely going to help you as an official because that game knowledge is huge. But being on the other side of the whistle is a different dynamic entirely because you're not only trying to figure out if it was a block or a charge or if it was pass interference or defensive holding, you're trying to figure that out, plus you're managing people. And that's the hardest part about officiating is people management. Anybody can be taught rules, anybody can be taught mechanics, but when it comes down to the experiential part of officiating, that's really where it's most difficult because you're learning things that as a player and coach you don't you don't necessarily know what primary coverage areas are, and you don't understand how difficult it can be to make a call in a split second when you've got a coach, a bench, and a bunch of fans who think that you're wrong.
I think he's talking bigger than just
you know, that's definitely an aspect
Oh,
of
man.
officiating that is different and unique and exciting. I mean, officials, there's a part of officials that the booing is part of it, and it kind of, you know, in a way it hypes them up. Nate Acosta, my assistant, and I were just talking about that in the office. And
Excuse me.
what's different is, as a veteran official, that might be part of it for you, but what's making it difficult as a recruitment, you know, barrier is the fact that officials who are 17, 18, 19 years old are getting booed and getting called names and vulgarities and obscenities, and it's hard for them to understand how to deal with that or block it out when they're trying to figure out where they should be standing, what calls they should be making. That's the difficulty, is they haven't yet developed that thick skin that you need in officiating. And you know,
We're trying to bring
can't-
those young guys
Yeah,
in, by the way,
absolutely.
and young women, you know, because we need more. I would think you would agree.
We can't train the thick skin, though.
Right. No.
You
We've
can't
got.
train that.
You got some
And,
great female officials. You need
we
more.
absolutely
Got some
do.
great ones out there.
We have some of the best female officials in the country. I'd put ours up against anybody. We have some of the best officials in the country. And I think that what we're doing in New Mexico, as I go around the country to different places, we're so far ahead of the curve, and people wouldn't believe that because everybody's so critical, and of course we're hypercritical of ourselves. It's always, gosh, I wish we could be doing more and offering more. But when I hear what other states are doing, we're so far ahead as far as evaluation and training, but we still want to do more because we want to make sure we're offering a quality product to our officials, but we're also offering a quality product to coaches, to fans, and bottom line is to kids, because that's what the game is for at this level. It's all about the kids, and it's all about ensuring that we have officials out there that are providing a service for them.
I think that's a good point, because there's a lot of things in New Mexico that people say are so far behind. But when you say that to me, I think that speaks volumes. You know, a good friend of ours, Dan Barkley, moved to Tucson, and so he tells me they're doing two-man there, and I'm like, of course, you know, Dan's up in age. Dan was a good official here, but he's not going to run at 63, 64. He could do it. He could, but you know, two-man, and people that don't know, when I started, we did a lot of two-man. We were just starting to incorporate the three-person system, which once you've done the three-person system, I tell young officials that you'll never want. You can't cover a two. You can't.
No,
so
it's
think
awful.
about that. Tucson's a sister state to us, right?
Absolutely.
And they're still doing two-man crews.
Phoenix, I mean, you look at the ball players that are in the Phoenix metro area,
cannot
and
cover
it's
with two.
all
There's no way.
above the rim play, and you're trying to cover it with two officials. And I think they're just now trying to move to three-person in
Tucson?
Arizona, but they're way behind right now. So.
Think about that. So that tells you something. Again, there's going to be people that watch this and say, I don't care if it's 2, 3, they're horrible, whatever. Yeah, but the thing is, they have no idea what you just mentioned: off the ball coverage, positioning, hold the whistle. Now, one of the things that I learned, gosh, it took me a while. Okay, Curtis Spencer, we always talk about it. You know, and Curtis Spencer had reffed in Zuni for years, had reffed here. The beginning, Les Williams, the beginning of the play, the middle, and the end. See it through, right?
Start, develop, finish.
See it through. Freedom of movement on the perimeter. Okay, so they got rid of a lot of this, and in the post, they got rid of a lot of that. So protect the shooter. There's so many things that you have to consider when you're out there on the floor, and as you mentioned, not only that, you have to deal with the coaches. I always, you know what? Again, having a basketball background, I really enjoyed my time. I did. You know, there's times I really miss it. You know, the camaraderie. Only people
absolutely.
that have officiated. You can sit there from the stands and make calls, and they're great, and they watch the film, and why was this not done and that not done? You're not out there. Not out there. You've never done it. But we encourage you.
But we want you to come out and be a part of it. It's a great,
so much fun.
It's a
really
great
is.
fraternity, sorority, brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. And officials are such a special breed, because when you look at them, and even when they're not calling, they've got text message threads talking about plays. That's
Calls.
all they talk about.
Film.
You can't go out to dinner with an official without the conversation going to talking plays and case situations and how do you handle this and what can I do to adjust my positioning. And it's hilarious. I'm like, can't we talk about something other than officiating? And the answer is no.
Right.
So people feel like if, when officials call a game, they go home and it's over, and that's not the case. It's looking
Oh,
at
man.
film, it's
Yeah.
asking each other questions, and
Oh,
really
man.
trying to perfect your craft. You'll never be perfect, but that pursuit of perfection is what makes officials good. And it's amazing to me when I get emails and text messages from officials who are really trying to find out answers to plays, and they think about it constantly. The officials that are, really trying to do their best, they're in their rule book, they're reading publications, they're watching film, they're having conversations, they're on Facebook groups. I mean, you name it.
Oh, I've seen it.
They're talking
I'm
it.
still a member of that basketball. You know what? Because yes, I'm a retired official, but
You can't get away from it.
I still say we. It's always
It
we.
is.
I spent 22 years out there, left a lot of my body parts in several gyms. We'll take a short break and be back on the sports desk after these messages.
Murphy gets his 800th win. Nice pass underneath, and
They don't have numbers. He's going to go all the way, and Villegas says, "Not tonight, baby. Get it out." Down in the corner. Reverse layup, up and in, good. Rebound. The drive, the layup, and it goes down and in by Ramos.
take over. Tapia is going to kick it out to Serrano for three. Yes! Pointed and done. Here it is. And look out. Showtime for Munn. Turn it over. And here comes Munn. And he'll put it down.
Coach Broussard went up to three. They counted as a two. At the buzzer, counted! Mercy! Serrano, how about it?
Watson grabs the rebound and a quick bounce pass. Alley-oop! Munn! Put it away! They got to get it in. And Monsanto might have thrown it away. It was saved to Monsanto. A kick out to Dethridge. He wants a three. Make it off the win.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this? Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering, let us bring our kitchen to you.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed live on Facebook. Ed Nunez, along with Commissioner of NMAA officials Dana Pappison. Dana, in the first segment, I mean, you and I have talked on radio. We've talked about officiating. I mean, officiating is still dear to my heart. It really is. It never goes away. I'm so friends with a lot of the officials that officiate for you to this day. And, it's funny, my son and I, he coached for St. Pius for 3 years. And he's a good little coach. He really was. But we would argue about things. Dad, it's like, son, look. How many games have you called? I'm 0, right? So
you don't get an opinion.
Yeah, but he had one, right?
Of course he did.
Of course,
everybody does.
Any coach did. And one of the things that I would tell coaches in pregame, look, I don't mind questions. You can can ask. Statements I got a problem with. So Brian Smith, the former Cleveland coach, was like, Ed, is that a question? And I had to laugh because there are light moments out there. There are. Okay, so you.
There's nothing we probably talk about, actually.
Oh, Joe Coleman tells me one time, I think you're doing a great job, but Ray is over there. He's giving you guys a business. I had to laugh. That was funny, and people don't get it. There are moments like that, and I think one of the things, this is our second segment, our last one together, but talk about those experiences, Dana. I mean, you've been the commissioner since when?
Since 2004. I've been at the office since 97, so I'm in my 22nd year, so we're in the 22-year plan apparently, so I'm in my 22nd year, and the sad thing is it's people like to report on planes that crash and not planes that land. There's far more good going on out in our schools with officials and coaches than we ever hear about. The camaraderie between coaches and officials, it's there. It really is. We partnered with the New Mexico High School Coaches Association 2 years ago with Buster Mabry and started having a symposium of basketball coaches and officials. And some of the best interactions that they have are in the hallway when they're able to just talk to each other and it's not a game setting, because emotions are high, and we appreciate that. And I think that when we focus on really the commonalities between coaches and officials, there are more commonalities than there are differences. People who coach, people who officiate are doing it because they love the game. They're doing it because they want to give back to kids. They're doing it because they want to give back to their communities, to their schools, to a sport that gave them a lot. And I think the more we focus on that love of the game, that love of student athletes, the more it improves those relationships just kind of organically. You don't have to work on that. When we strip away the clipboard for the coach and the whistle for the official, they're the same person. I mean, quite honestly, and there's,
I don't see any difference.
There isn't. I mean, there's a passion, there's a competitiveness, because officials are competitive just as coaches are.
Goodness gracious.
And as much as there is a very strong relationship and family within officiating, it's still competitive, and it drives officials to get better when there's an official who might be up and coming, who might be breathing down their neck a little bit because they're just that good. And then you have no choice as an official but to get better as well. So I think that as we're getting in a lot of officials that are at about a 6 to 8 year range now who are they're at camps, they're doing everything that they're asked of, and that's making the whole better. Because they're that competitive drive. They're former athletes. They're people who don't like to lose, just like coaches. So I think that the more we focus on how alike we are as coaches and officials, the better that makes the game for kids. Because I really think that sometimes there's kind of an adversarial relationship between the two, and there shouldn't be, not at this level. I mean, if that's how it is in the NBA or the NFL, that's one thing, but at the high school level, it is a family. It's an interscholastic family, and I say that a lot. Do we bicker at times? Absolutely. But do we bicker with our aunts and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters? Absolutely. So it's really no different. But what we all have to keep in mind, whether you're a coach, an official, a kid, a spectator, is respect. And when we lose that respect for the game is when we run into problems.
Right, and I think recently, James Yotis wrote a great article in the Journal about certain fans, misbehaving, and we've seen that. Now, I only think, maybe I'm wrong, because of social media. Social media puts things the negative out. They're not going to put, hey, we had a greatly officiated or well officiated game. They're not going to put that out. We know that. But the one small error, gosh, that blows up. And
everywhere.
And it was one of the articles or parts of the article that he wrote was the 17-year-old official being called a vulgarity. And, you know, I tell you, I'm still when I hear things about officials, somebody said something to me after a game this year, and I said, ma'am, it wasn't like that, you know, because right away she's like, well, this and this. You know, and I'm very defensive because, you know, there's that official's defense still comes in. 22 years, you don't spend that time and think, we don't really know what's being called. You don't know. You don't know because you don't know.
You're not there.
Right. But I just think hopefully that gets better. Because, again, we don't want to chase away any officials. I wanted to ask you this, too. You said this to me a couple years ago. Baseball and basket or softball, is there any reason why officials are declining there? One of the things you said to me a couple years ago is some games may not be played because there's no officials, and that broke my heart. So talk about your decline there and why.
So baseball and softball, the reasons are varied. I think part of the issue with baseball and softball is the startup cost. So baseball, because you have to buy protective gear and you've got, you know, plate gear, shoes, chest protector, it can run upward of $400 just to get started. So that's your investment before you've even gotten a game check. That's certainly an issue, but I think that just time demands on all of our officials. It's getting harder for officials to ask their employers for time off of work to go work a game. So if you have to leave at noon 3 days a week to go call a game because we're short, and now you're having to travel from Albuquerque to, I don't know, Eunice, when you're going to have to take the whole day off of work, employers try to be very, overall we have employers across the state who are wonderful as far as letting officials go call games, but you can't continue to miss work and keep your job. So I think that...
True. I forgot about that part.
I mean, there's been a shift really in the population of officials. Most of our officials used to be educators. So we had people who had schedules where they'd be off of work at 2:30 because they taught, and then they'd go work a game. That's not the case anymore. We've lost a lot of the educators who are officials, and we don't have that off at 2:30 schedule anymore. So I think that that's been an issue as well. But there's so many factors. The National Association of Sports Officials did a study year before last, and the thing that they discovered is most people who quit officiating do so because of bad behavior of adults. It has nothing to do with kids, and it was 70%. Which is an insane number. So you think about, you have kids and your priorities shift, that's a factor. But to have 70% of the officials who leave do so because of fan behavior or sometimes, coach behavior, but it never was kids. And that's a problem. And as, Sally Marquez, our executive director, has done a fantastic job this year of getting out into communities and talking to schools, talking to fans about their behavior and kind of the negative effect, because what happens is you can criticize officials from the stands, but when nobody shows up and your kids don't get to play, at some point you have to look within and realize that you may have contributed to that problem.
Right.
And I think that that's what people are not understanding is, we had a varsity basketball game in Albuquerque 2 weeks ago called with one official because of the shortage. And of course, everybody was upset by it. I'm serious.
Varsity level?
Varsity level basketball.
Oh my gosh, it's hard. There's no way. I did that one time because
It's
the
horrible.
official didn't show up.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can, there's no way you can do it.
And
So talk about that a little bit more.
So everybody, of course, lost their minds because there was one official, but I seriously doubt there was anybody doing a great deal of introspection about maybe we don't have officials because I'm the person that's in row 4 screaming vulgarities at them. So I think we all need to start checking ourselves. Every day I try to figure out what I can do better in my job and how I can be a better person. And I think that the more introspection people would do, maybe they would understand that they're not a part of the solution. They're contributing to why their kid isn't getting to play. And we have a student leadership advisory council with the NMAA that I'm very honored to work with. And the kids on that council are amazing because they talk so much about how their own parents sometimes or parents in their communities are embarrassing them because of the way they behave. And I think that if you listen to your kids, if you're not going to listen to adults who are talking about the problems, listen to your kids and understand that what you're doing, it isn't helping. You yelling, I've never seen an official change a call because you yell at them.
Ever.
It's just not going to happen.
In Major League, in the NFL,
yeah,
NBA,
any
they
level.
got video. We don't have that
you're not
at the NBA level.
Oh, you're right.
Calls are overturned at
you're
the pro
right,
level.
Fan in row 6. I missed that trouble. It's not going to happen. So I think that the more people can understand that it's great to go and cheer and be spirited and yell for your team, and get into the game. But when you start being a destructive member of that fan base, that's where we have a problem. You've got to positively cheer for your kids and your team without being abusive or disrespectful for the game. It's not about the officials. It is about the officials, but the bigger picture is the game. It's about those kids. And if your behavior is lending itself to kids not wanting to play anymore, or kids not being able to play anymore because there's no officials to call their games, that's a problem.
Or being embarrassed.
Exactly.
A couple minutes left. But anybody that think about the old Hoop It Up when there was no refs, right? And they settled calls by a flip of a coin. I played out there when that was done. That was warfare. Warfare. So think about that. Then they went to officials every court I look on, there's people running over because there's so many fights. So think about games with no officials. Just think about that. Dana, a couple of things. Your referee symposium, you brought in Billy Kennedy, you brought in Red Cashin to improve officials. Talk about that a little bit.
So one of the things we've been very fortunate to do is really make relationships with the NFL, the NBA, NCAA, Major League Baseball. We just had a Major League Baseball umpire come and talk to our baseball and softball umpires, and they're really giving back to the grassroots. And the fact that our officials are able to see that officials at that level, they're just people. They are, and they really want to give back.
I remember Billy Kennedy.
Yes, Billy was amazing.
Great.
So, this year for our state clinic luncheon speaker, we're having Violet Palmer from the NBA
one of the first
fame.
female officials at the NBA level.
So
might have been the first.
She was. She and Dee Cantor actually started the same season, and Violet had I think a 2-decade-long career in the NBA, and now she's the supervisor of officials for basically all of the western part of the United States for Division I basketball.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Great
So
for her.
she's going to be,
deserves it.
she's amazing. She'll be our luncheon speaker, and we're really trying to provide more of those opportunities about, to teach our officials about officiating, not necessarily about the X's and O's, because it's bigger than that. It's the outside of the rule book stuff that really takes a longer time to master, and the more that our officials have that exposure and are able to pick up the phone and call Division I officials for advice. Right. And these individuals make themselves available to our officials because they, even though none of them really have ties to New Mexico, they've done it because I've asked. And that's all it takes. And we get intimidated sometimes to see, a Violet Palmer, a Jerry Markbride, and all these greats in officiating. It's intimidating because we're all groupies.
They're human,
we really
though.
are.
They're human.
The minute you say, can you come and help us? I've never had somebody say no. They'll say, let me check my calendar, but they won't say no because they understand that grassroots officiating is really where it is, where it starts.
I remember, and I'm going to ask you one more question before we wrap it up. Scotty Rossetti asked Billy Kennedy, how do you put up with Allen Iverson? He did at the symposium.
I remember that.
And Billy Kennedy says, you know what? I just tell him I'm not putting up with it tonight. And Billy Kennedy is one of the best referees in the NBA.
Absolutely.
So that was a great question. I think everybody wanted to know that. Finally, Dana, tell everybody again. We got a lot of referees in the stands here.
We do.
That want to. You need them. We need them. Tell them how they can join, what they need to do to sign up.
So give us a call at the NMAA office. Our number is 923-3110, or you could go to our website at nmact.org and go to the officials section. You can contact my assistant, Nate Acosta, at 505-923-3286. Bottom line is we need you. And if you're a fan who definitely calls it from row 27, we would love to have you sign up and really get in the game. It's the best seat in the house. You'll make lifelong friendships. I think that's the best part about officiating is that camaraderie. And if you have a love of sports, you don't have to have any experience. We will train you, and we would love to have you come and help us out and keep high school sports thriving in New Mexico. Without officials, there are no games, and we could use all the prospects that we could get. So I appreciate the opportunity to recruit a little bit and chat with you this morning.
They're certainly out there, that's for sure. Dana Pappas, Commissioner of the Officials for the NMAA, thanks so much for being our guest.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. We'll be back on the sports desk after these messages.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Dream Style Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dream Style Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dream Style Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this? Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud sports network.
Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. Ed Nunez along with Proview CEO Adam Deal. Adam, we don't get to see you enough on the show, man. It's always good having you on.
I know this one. I mean, I've been on a lot of other shows. I appreciate you getting me on. You know, Scott Galletti doesn't want me on the show, so with you, then it works out, man.
Yeah, I think he'd love to have you as well.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I know you. We know what knowledge you have, and you do a lot of games. And some surprises last week. You've been covering a lot of Volcano Vista and Cleveland. And Cleveland, I was watching that game between Volcano Vista and Cleveland, and I texted you after the game.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe Deathridge made that shot. Okay,
Yeah.
Great save to start the sequence. And then a bank from that angle is what? 8%? That'll never go in 8%. I'd call it 8. I've never seen that.
That was his spot, right? Because he had hit 2 threes earlier in the half, Deathridge over there, but they were nylon, right? All nylon. So when he was shooting that, I was like, this is going in. When you saw it released, you could tell it's going to miss right away. You're thinking miss. And then you're thinking, okay, there'll be enough time for a rebound and a tip, but then it banks in, and then you're thinking, well, this is going Volcano's way for sure. And what's funny about that game is it's kind of like they've played 3 times, and this is how their games have gone. right? They played 3 times, and the points that separate them are 4 points in 3 games.
Oh, man.
It's ridiculous, right? And Cleveland won the first in APS Metro Championship, and Volcano has paid them back twice. But you text me, and I said, well, but you know what? Cleveland did not deserve to win that game, right? I mean, they didn't deserve to win the last game, and they kind of just have to make the comeback at the very end, and you think, well, you know, maybe Cleveland's going to squeak this one out, but they didn't deserve it. And when is Sean Jimenez's team going to kind of piece together a full game? Then maybe they're the best team in the state, but they didn't deserve to win it.
You know, those, gosh, when I saw Muhammad go to the rim and it skids off the rim at the end, and you know, they have a chance. They have a great starting 5. When they go to the bench, you're not going to have a Munn and Muhammad, 2 athletes like that, and a Nakai Smith and Josh Terry for being a big guy like that, and Watson. That's one of the best starting 5s. You know, they lose a lot when they go to the bench. That's not a knock on. It's just that starting 5 is so strong. You know, and he likes to play up tempo and press, and so. A Volcano, gosh, I mean, they made the play again. Deathridge hitting that shot. I looked at that bank, and I couldn't, you know, I've been around the game 45, 50.
The angle doesn't make sense.
I couldn't believe it. Tim Duncan used to hit that shot with some regularity for the Spurs, right? But not that angle. No. That angle there, and I looked at it again because the replay was on this morning. And it's an incredible angle. If he shoots that 100 times, he may make 4, maybe. It's
probably not, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's, you know, give Volcano credit. Alden, can you get the bracketology up there? Going to look at Adam Deal's bracketology for the. Thanks, Alden. I appreciate it, producer Alden.
This is just to be said. This is old, right? This is last week's. I've not updated this, and today actually I'll come out with something new on the boys and girls side. But so this is older, and it's going to change, and I can kind of explain why it's going to change. Let me tell you something. William Benjamin is going to hate me, and he's hated me before.
He's watching. You know, he watches this show. So
he's going to hate me.
Give him a shout out.
I love William Benjamin. No, I do. And
I do too. He's a great coach.
I think we've developed into a good relationship. We both respect each other. I don't just think he's a good coach. I think he's one of the best, or if not the best coach in the state, just because of how every year in and year out his ball club is, right? I mean, this year I think even myself, a lot of people thought they'd still be good, but I didn't think they were going to be undefeated good and this good, right? But the problem is the criteria doesn't favor him, and it's not me. It's not me saying that Las Cruces should be number 2. It's just the way the NMAA criteria is. I'm trying to predict what the NMAA is going to do, and that's just it. And even if Las Cruces wins out, the problem here is Volcano Vista. Let's just go through it real quick. Volcano Vista, projected district champs. So is Las Cruces. They tie there. They have not played, so they tie there. Okay. Las Cruces has a better record, so they win that percentage, or they win that criteria. Las Cruces also is ahead in the coaches poll, so they win that criteria. So that's 2 criteria to 0. But then Volcano Vista is ahead of them in max prep rankings, so they have that criteria point. And then Volcano Vista has more district championship wins, projected at least at this point, than Las Cruces. So what happens? That's a tie. So in a tie, it goes head-to-head. They did not play head-to-head, and then it goes to max prep rankings. So right now at least, it looks like Volcano Vista is going to be the 1 seed and not Las Cruces at this moment. Now, Las Cruces still has to win Volcano Vista still has to win their district for this to happen, and there's a lot that can change. Max preps can change, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Pretty wild.
Okay, and you know what? It's a heck of an explanation. A lot of people may not have got that. They see the record and they see Las Cruces has been the overall number 1 most of the year. So, yes, I get the explanation. I get it. So I think you broke it down wonderfully. And again, you know, Coach Benjamin.
He's not going to be happy, though.
No. You know what? I'll tell you one thing about Will. Every time the Aggies win, he knows, you know, I'm a Lobo guy. So every time the Aggies win, he sends me an Aggie. You know, he knows that, you know, he knows to get under my skin.
For sure.
But I love Will. You know, I wrote an article about him for Enchantment Sports. And just talking to him, Adam, for a half an hour, you know how much I love basketball. I could have talked to the guy for 2 hours. You know, he's telling me.
He's passionate.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Talking about when he played with Randy Brown and, you know, the guys that held him accountable as an Aggie, you know, talking about when he played for Coach Neil McCarthy. But, you know, I think there's some other interesting basketball as well. I think a surprise team lately, and we covered them last week against Sandia, is Albuquerque High. They've won 2 games in district. Again, Santa Fe without J.B. White. And, you know, you got to play with who you got. I know that J.B. White's one of the best players in state, but we've got to give the Bulldogs credit for what they've done so far in district.
Well, and this bracket completely changes that you see behind us, right? And it completely changes because of Albuquerque High School's win against Sandia, and then they beat Santa Fe. And Monzano beat Sandia. And so both Monzano and Albuquerque High School are 4-2. And it looks like the district is going to go through Monzano or Albuquerque High School, believe it or not. If Albuquerque High School wins this district outright, not ties for the district, outright wins it, everybody's in trouble. And let me tell you why, because the rule is you cannot be seated above somebody that finishes higher than you in district play. So if Albuquerque High School does win this district, that means Santa Fe Capital might not even get in. I mean, Albuquerque High School is looking at a 14, 15 seed unless their max preps drastically changes, which I don't think it is. Look, they're 7-13. Okay, they had such a drastic bad run to start their season. Not even just start their season, through mid-season. And once they got into district, they have turned things around. Utopia is good. Serrano's hitting big shots, and I think the Garcias are doing a great job coaching them as well. They need a little bit of credit as well. If Monzano ends up winning the district, things will change. Monzano, though, ain't getting higher than maybe a 13 seed either. And so then Santa Fe and Capital would have to be seeded after them. So this is going to change. This is going to change drastically what this bracket looks like. Santa Fe is no longer an 8 seed right now because of their loss. Santa Fe has to hope Monzano lose and Albuquerque lose, and they can jump back in the driver's seat for things to kind of go back to normal. But Ed, I don't know if that happens. So look at the top 5 seeds. I think it's going to go Cruces, Volcano, Cleveland, Rio Rancho, and Atrisco in any particular order. Those 5 seeds, I think, are almost set. And then after that, you're going to see a lot of shift. Now, a team that could jump in to the top 8 this week is La Cueva. La Cueva get a win against El Dorado. They're going to win their district, and they're going to be seated above El Dorado, and their max prep is going to jump, and Frank Castillo, and all of a sudden these Bears could find themselves in a good position.
Rematch Friday night at El Dorado.
And
so
we'll have it for you on My 50 TV. So
that's going to be a heck of a matchup.
Oh, by the way, I want to mention this. This is just new information. The one-time La Cueva great, Bryce Alford, he just messaged me on Twitter. He's promoting his camp. He's going to have a camp here, which we're really excited about. We want to help him promote it just because of how fantastic he was for our community here. He's going to be on. So Alfred's going to come on with us, and we're going to chat a little bit with him. And we know he was a big part of that La Cueva-El Dorado rivalry and what he's done in the state of New Mexico. So that'll be fun to watch.
One of the best shooters that there ever was. We talk about Bubba Jennings. I actually played against Bubba, and there was before 3-point shots. But Bryce Alford, when him and Colin Neal for the championship that year, wow. These kids were both shooting 30 to 35 feet out. And just a great guy, too. Bryce Alford, just a wonderful young man.
So, it was. I think people don't understand. Since I've been covering hoops here, he was the most electrifying player that I've watched. I think he can score and assist. I think he had a triple-double in the APS Metro Championship his senior year against Atrisco and put up also 44 points. And it's just, I've never seen a player that can shoot like him and take over a game like him. And obviously, I haven't been around as long as you, Ed, and covering the state. And I know there are more athletic players that come here. But shooting-wise, just straight shooter, a guy that I think if he had a little bit more pieces around him would have easily won the state championship more times. But I think one of the better players. And there's a reason. I think he's number 3 in UCLA history and scoring. There's a reason for it. I mean,
well, think about that. UCLA history, Alcindor, Keith Wilkes. I mean, so many great players from the past, Westbrook, Kevin Love. We can go on and on. Sebastian Noel, give him a call. He'll give us all the great UCLA. He'll give us all the great UCLA players.
I don't want to talk to Sebastian about UCLA.
Yeah, Adam Deal, thanks so much for being with us. We'll be back after these messages with Proview President Steve Davis.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart. Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed live on Facebook. Ed Nunez, along with ProView President Steve Davis. Steve, welcome to the show, man. It's always great having you on.
What a busy morning you had. You had Dana, and you had Adam, and I feel good.
I'm glad you're here. You know, we're going to go through the top 10 this week sent by Manny Lucero. Alden Iwani, there it is right there. Class 5A girls. You got Hobbs at number 1. West Mesa tonight against Piedra Vista in the game I'll cover for ProView Networks. That's a matchup, a key matchup there, Steve. Piedra Vista beat West Mesa last time. Carlsbad, La Cueva come in. Volcano Vista, Mayfield, Sandia, and Rio Rancho rounding out the top 10. Go ahead, Steve.
I'll tell you, what's going to be interesting is you see 2 and 3. That's what it means. West Mesa and Piedra Vista going to see each other a few more times. And tonight's get out to West Mesa and see the game.
Well, it's going to be a great atmosphere there. And again, Piedra Vista won going away that first matchup. So we'll see. There's the rankings in Class 4A. And Las Lunas remains number 1. Kirtland Central number 2, Gallup number 3. Highland, I talked to Lonnie Neal last week at Highland. They're number 4. Pewaukee number 5. Silver number 6. Hope Christian inching their way back up into the top 10. They played a very tough schedule to begin the season. St. Pius at number 8. Miyamura number 9. And Portales number 10. And Steve, again, Las Lunas with Marty Zeller. They're still ranked number 1, even though they lost a lot from last year.
Well, I tell you, it's fun to watch, Marty Zeller, and it's fun to talk with him. And I mean, he's kind of has the showmanship and has the respect of the whole state. But it's pretty neat to see Kirtland and Gallup, and that means that if they can get into the finals, how the pit's going to be packed.
Oh yes, we remember a couple years ago when Shiprock played Hope. I don't think I had heard that place as loud as I heard it that day, and it really had an effect on the Hope Christian girls. If we can go to 4A and 5A boys, Alden. And there's Las Cruces at number 1, Volcano Vista at number 2, Cleveland number 3, Atrisco Heritage 4, Rio Rancho number 5, El Dorado at 6, Clovis at 7, Hobbs, a good article in the paper today about Hobbs, Steve, number 8, La Cueva, who's been playing very well the second half of the year, is at number 9, and Santa Fe number 10. Your thoughts, Steve, about top 10 in 5A?
Well, let's start with La Cueva. If they control their destiny. They win Friday night and win this week. I'm not sure they played 2 games this week, but I know if they win Friday night, they are going to jump El Dorado. Okay, so that'll put them have them a home game, and that's a team that is very dangerous with Ortega and Isles and Garcia at the guard, and then. Las Cruces, everybody keeps saying, well, if they're not, you know what? They're undefeated, okay? And Coach Benjamin, I have great respect for him. He's the winningest coach in the last 4 years of all the coaches. Now, can he come out and win a blue trophy? I mean, that's something that he has not gotten since his
2013, I think.
2013. And then Volcano Vista, you got me on a roll here. Volcano Vista. Their control their destiny in that district, and really Cleveland is right now. Rio Rancho would be in front of Cleveland if the season ended today, and we have a great game tonight. Rio Rancho and Atrisco Heritage, and Atrisco Heritage has changed. So this district here is very exciting, and great players. All have great scores. It's just you just can't talk about how great that district is.
It's great coaches in that district. Let's go to 4A. We got about a couple minutes here left. Las Lunas still number 1, so we have Las Lunas girls and boys number 1 in 4A. Hope Christian number 2, Gallup at 3, Silver at 4, Espanola at 5, Valley at number 6, Valencia at number 7, Bernalillo at number 8. Highland, up-and-coming Highland team there at 12 and 8. They're number 9. Artesia number 10. Your quick thoughts, Steve?
Well, congratulations, Coach Murphy. We had him on the Steve Davis show this morning. 800 win, first in his district. A tough district there. I mean, that's it's almost as exciting as the 5A district with Rio Rancho, Cleveland, and Atrisco Heritage, and I'm missing one. I'm not as good as Ed Nunez on that one, but the Las Lunas, what can you say? They've had quality wins, and it's probably going to come down to Hope Christian. But think about this: if Gallup gets in there, the pit's going to be ecstatic. It's going to be sold out. Yeah, no question about it. I was there at Friday night at Highland, and Highland played them tough through 3 quarters, but that Hope defense, that fulcrum, the pressure they put on you, that took over, and of course their veteran players, Colin Evans, Isaiah Dockery, and Johnny Nittifin took over. Steve, we got about 2 minutes left, and St. Pius head coach Damian Segura has announced that this is his last year. He won 4 titles there at Pius, no question, Hall of Famer. He's 44 years old. I still think down the line he puts everything he can into every game that he coaches. Your thoughts about Coach Segura? Well, first, class act, and you think of what he overcame to keep coaching. I think that's very, he overcame cancer, stayed with his team, and he's a true, and your son coached underneath him and played under him, so it's been a great run. I mean, that's what I can say about, and it's sad that he's going to do it, but I'm sure he has his reasons, and he's put a lot of energy and time and effort, and I know he's done a lot of thought about this is his time. And it's I think when my son and I heard that, my son found out before I did, and we're both going to the Academy Pius game this Saturday to pay our respects. I've known Coach Segura since my son was in 6th grade. And what an awesome job. Again, 4 titles at St. Pius. He's been there 20 years, and he says it's time. And again, a young man like him at 44, we definitely may see him down the line somewhere. You never know. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Sports Desk. For producer Alden Niawani, Proview president Steve Davis, Scott Coletti will be back next week. I'm Ed Nunez on the Sports Desk.